Good night, everyone. Welcome to the live. Yes, Chichi, this is my usual song for Mind Matters, always vibing. All right, welcome, everyone, to another episode of Mind Matters, where we will be discussing matters of the mind because mind matters. I am Alton Marie Elvis, and I would like to say thank you all so much for joining me on this another episode of Mind Matters and for joining me on this mindset journey. Remember to like, share, and if you are on YouTube watching me right now, go ahead, click that subscribe button and click that bell so that once I post a new video, you are able to get the notification. All right, gonna get right into it tonight. We are going to be talking about where grow where you're planted. Grow where you're planted. This is a deep topic, and it's a topic that I believe is necessary. I believe that persons need to know about it because persons always, we have this tendency of wanting to have everything and wanting to have things right away without having to grow. Um, so we're going to talk about how we're going to where we are, where God has placed us, and just using the opportunity and experiences that God is giving you at this point to help you to propel to your level of success that you are reaching for. All right. So, have you ever seen a flower or a plant that is growing out of concrete, or growing in the middle of the road, or growing in a cracking in the road, or some unusual place? We see this, and we wonder how it is that these seeds or these plants can grow in how how is it that these plants can grow in these strange places? All right, sorry, didn't realize I didn't turn my music off. Okay, so sometimes we're dealt things in life that aren't exactly what we want to be dealt. We're dealt a hand that's not the best, and you are on this job that's not the perfect job. You are in the school that's not the school that you probably wanted to go to. You're in a place in your life where it's not where you want to be financially, and you have this feeling of depression or sadness, and you feel as though you are not accomplishing, or you have not accomplished what it is that you've set out to accomplish. And so you're there on this job, on this in this part of your life, and just not happy with where you are. So, but we have to make the best of the situations that we're in, because every situation that we're in is a stepping stone to where we should be or where we want to be. So you have to make the best of the situation, and not just grow in the situation, but bloom in the situation. Is one thing to grow, and it's another thing to bloom. So you're going to grow and you're going to bloom in that situation. Make sure that some flower comes out of whatever it is, that whatever growth you're having, that something comes from it. Keep While you're in that situation, it may not be the situation that you want to be in, but you have to keep your dreams alive. You have to have goals. What are your goals? What goals have you set for your life? Are you working towards them? So while you're in that situation, waiting to grow or working on growing, you have to have goals. What is it? Where is it that I want to be? If this is not my ideal job, what is my ideal job? Do I want to be an entrepreneur where I'm working for myself? Do I want to have freedom of time? Do I want to have a certain amount of income? What are you doing to work towards those? You have to be able to have a goal in mind to work towards this. However, while working towards these, you must grow in your situation. All right. Not everybody can just up and quit their jobs. Not everybody can just up and quit their jobs in the middle of whatever it is that's happening. So your dreams take time. There are certain dreams that take time, is not going to just come right away. So you can't be in an unhappy situation, an unhappy place while you're working towards these goals, because what you're going to find happening is that you are not going to work towards those goals because you're unhappy, because it's a state of mind. All right, so instead of being bitter and upset about your situation, why not try to bloom and grow and bloom where you're planted? So how do you go about doing this? How do you go about growing where you're planted? And why should we do this? In 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verses 20 and 21, the Bible tells us that each person should remain in the situation they were in when God called them. And were you a slave when you were called, don't let it trouble you. It says, although if you can gain your freedom, do so. So wherever you are, wherever you're planted, you're supposed to be comfortable there. And when I say comfortable, I don't mean comfortable to the point where you are stagnant. You're comfortable, you're content where you are. That's the word I'm looking for, content. All right. So don't let it bother you where you are right now. Everybody started, well, most people started at the bottom. And you work your way up. However, you have to work on your mental state. You have to work on your attitude. You have to work on sorry. You have to work on the attitude that you have towards where you are at this point. You have to appreciate your present and accept changes and setbacks. It's not easy because, sometimes I find myself in that situation, and, it gets me down at times. And then I think about it and I'm like, I'm grateful for where God has brought me from to where I am now. Because if 7 years ago, you couldn't have told me that this is where I would be today. I would have laughed at you. All right. So you have to stay positive. All right. You have to stay positive each day so that you can actually and eventually bloom where you are. All right. So as I said, each step, each situation that you're in is a step to prepare you for the next level. So if you're not growing where you are at this level, how are you going to get to the next level? You have to grow where you are so that you can get to the next level. Or else you're going to find yourself in that situation a whole lot longer than if you are positive towards the situation and doing your best in the situation. And then God will elevate you to where He wants you. Because He said, whatever you do, work at it with all of your heart as if you're working for the Lord and not for man. Since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Jesus Christ you're serving. So when you go to that job and you don't want to be there, don't show that you don't want to be there. Still give it your best. Still give it your all. So when persons are fed up and they're late for work, you're on time. When persons are giving up, you're still persevering. Because you know that what you're doing is not for you. It's not for the boss. It's not for the institution. It's not for wherever you are, whoever is in charge of you at that particular point. Whatever you're doing, you should do it as if you're doing it for the Lord and not for man. And once you do that, you're going to find yourself pushing a whole lot further. And you'll see where God moves you to where He wants you. You can look at the story of Joseph and Daniel in the Bible. Joseph and Daniel, they were thrown into situations where they didn't want to be there. Both of them were sent to another country aside from where they were supposed to be. Daniel was captured and Joseph was sold into slavery. But yet, both of them ended up second in command in the country that wasn't theirs. And Daniel didn't just do it once, he did it with 3 different kings because of his attitude towards what he did. He put God first and he did his best at everything, despite the fact that he was a servant to these people and he didn't belong there. He gave his best. And when he gave his best, God elevated him. It wasn't the kings. God elevated him to where he wanted him to be, because Daniel did what he did for God and not for man. And even Joseph, when Joseph was in Potiphar's house, Joseph did not say, oh, how can I can't do this thing. He said, I cannot sin against my God. How can I do this thing and sin against my God? So it wasn't about him. It was about serving God. 3 years, as I told you, if you had told me 7 years ago that I would be sitting in this position where I am now. I'm currently the principal of a private Christian institution, and I've been the principal. This is my 7th year. And, when hold on just 1 second for me. When you have loud teenagers in your house. Sorry. All right. Yeah. So I have been principal for the past 7 years, but I have only been at the institution for 10. Now, it's not because I am better or because of my degree or whatever it is. When I started out there, I knew the conditions that I went in under, and I told the principal that hired me, I told her, I am not coming here to work for you. I'm coming here to work for God, because whatever I do, I'm doing it as if I'm doing it for God and not for man. So I'm going to give you my best. I did that. Principal changed, and I did that again. Not only was I doing my job, and not only was I doing my job, but when others were complaining about what was happening and complaining about the principal and complaining about this and that, I was working and I was helping, I was serving. I was doing my job in the classroom and I was assisting the principal with things that she needed help with. And it wasn't because I wanted to be principal. I didn't want to be the principal. I didn't want to be in any leadership position because I know how leadership is. I know the strain that it has on persons. I know the responsibility that comes with it. So I didn't want it. But there I am, 3 years into the job, and the principal leaves. And who gets the call to come in to be the acting principal? Because while I was doing those things, my name was going to the chair, to the board. Oh, she's assisting with this. Oh, you need to see the email that she sent, how professional it is. So even though at that particular point, I was looking for other jobs, because that's not that I had an issue with the place itself, but because of what was going on there, I wanted to leave. I was looking for a better income. So I was looking, but then that's not what God wanted for me. So here I am, 7 years in the position in the school, and I am extremely grateful for what God has done in my life. So sometimes God places you somewhere where he knows that the experience will help you to grow. Because every experience is a part of the process. It's a part of the journey. It sets to you up for the next level. I didn't know that my next level was being the leader. But whatever I do it wholeheartedly. Sometimes it's tough. Sometimes I complain or I complained about, you know, things, but I'm human, and you know, at the end of the day, I would go right back to being positive about the situation. And that leads me to my next step. Stop complaining. Stop complaining. You know, to truly bloom and to truly grow, you must stop complaining. Your job and your circumstances may not be ideal right now, but you have to know what it is that you are able to change and what you can't change. If you can change it, change it. If you can't change it, don't complain about it. Maya Angelou said, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change your attitude about it. And it all boils down to your attitude. It all boils down to your attitude. If the situation cannot be changed, you must learn to rise above the situation. If you can't change it, if you know that, you know, at this point you don't want to leave or the job that you're on, or you're in a situation where you can't do any better at that particular time, rise above it. Find ways, change the whole mindset towards it. Think positively about it. Everything that happens in our lives has a positive positive connotation to it. Everything. So you may not be in your perfect job, you may not be in the perfect relationship, or you may not have the perfect life. Sorry, I'm still getting over my sickness. I wasn't on last week because of this. All right, but you may not have the perfect life, but you know, you aren't doing enough you probably aren't doing enough with what God has already given you. Sometimes God gives you these things, and because you're constantly complaining about it, you don't realize what he has given you. And because you're complaining about it, you're not using what you already have. You have to appreciate what he has given you and work with what he has given you so that he can elevate you to where he wants you. So you want to begin by being thankful. You want to begin by being grateful. Grateful in the situation so that you can grow in the situation. And you want to also be a blessing. It doesn't matter how little you have enough to bless somebody. Whether it's by listening, whether it's by helping them with their struggles, whether it's by being positive when they're not having a good day. You are able to help. When you help people, it helps you to feel better about yourself. Sounds strange, but studies have proven it. People are happier when they help. People are happier when they give of themselves in service. How are you helping? Or are you just being ungrateful, or are you just being selfish and you just want without giving? You have to be able to give back. You have to be able to serve, and that is what's going to make you happy and content with where you are. You know, Steve Jobs says you cannot connect dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust the dots, like trust that the dots will somehow connect in the future. So at this point, you're not worried about what's going to happen in the future. Live in your present. Work with what God has given you. Bless people with what God has given you. Whatever talents it is that you have, whether it's cooking or whatever it is. Work with what God has given you and bless others. What's happening in your life is a stepping stone to what's next in your life. Embrace where you are now so that you can get the most out of this current situation. A lot of times we're expecting to grow, but we're not making the best of what we have. God wants you to minister to others with your life and to be perseverant and to grow through your adversities. So you have to grow where you are planted, grow where He has placed you. Find that crack in the cement, find that crack in the concrete, and you shoot up. Right now, I'm in the process of starting a little garden here at home. And when you get your seeds, you know, they're the little pots, some really tiny pots, like about 2 inches small. That's where you put your seeds in. And in order to grow your plants, you're going to need your dirt and you're going to need water and all of that stuff. So your seed has to go under the dirt. Your seed has to go under the dirt. So you're going to have some messes in your life. You can't see when you put that seed in the dirt, you can't see what's happening there. You can't see what's happening under the dirt. But something is happening. That seed is germinating. And then growing is not just moving upward. A lot of us want to just go upward without having a foundation. You have to have roots. If a plant is growing and it doesn't have the top is growing and the roots aren't growing, at some point the tree is going to die, or the plant is going to die, because there won't be sufficient support from the root for that plant to survive. Hence, you have to grow where you are planted. You have to have that foundation. Stay in the dirt where He has placed you. Get the foundation, get what it is that you need to get from that current situation so that you're able to grow upward. So you cannot have prosperity without first growing under the soil, without having your foundation, without becoming strong where no one can see it. And that being strong is being strong mentally, being strong in your attitude, being strong in your mind. And that's where it starts. Your mindset, your attitude will help you to prosper. You know, so as the plant grows, it gets bigger. So once the plant gets to a certain level, they normally tell you once it gets to about 4 leaves, then you're going to take it from that little small pot and put it into a bigger pot. And then once it outgrows that bigger pot, then you're going to find a place in the ground to place it, to put it where it will best survive and thrive. And it's the same thing with us. We start off in that small pot. Don't be ashamed if you're starting off in that small pot. Don't feel bad because you're starting in that small pot. Because as you grow, God is going to transport you from that small pot to a bigger pot. And after you have outgrown that bigger pot, He's going to put you in a plot where He wants you. He's going to move you from just being in a pot, and He's going to place you in a plot where He wants you and where He knows you're going to thrive and where you're going to survive. So grow where you are planted. Okay, he's just waking up. See, everybody can see you. Yes, grow where you are planted. And he came just in time because I am done. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And I will see you next week as we continue on our mindset journey to success. Enjoy your week and may God continue to bless each and every one of you and your families. Remember, change your mindset, change your lives. What's on your mind?